Miami Heat defeated the Sacramento Kings on the road 121 to 110 in a thrilling and really fun basketball game. Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat basketball channel. My name is Amir. Before I get into the recap today, I just want to thank everybody for their continued support of my channel. Getting close to 1,000 subscribers, so if you could subscribe to the channel, that would mean a lot. So that game last night was intense and incredible and an electric environment. I was at the game yesterday, so I actually drove to Sacramento. I've never been to Sacramento. I've never been to the Golden One Center and went to watch the Heat win. And I'm happy I did go because that was an entertaining game. Really back and forth in the first half. And it was close. And the Miami Heat, were in control to a certain degree during that first half and were up. And then had a tremendous third quarter where we had a 20-point lead going into the fourth quarter. And the Miami Heat did what they always typically do, is blow leads, but they were able to hold on, which was super impressive because we all know that the Miami Heat were super undermanned, as Spo doesn't like to say that, we are undermanned when we are in situations like that because he thinks players are capable and can step up and that we have enough, as cliche as it sounds. But we did have enough last night, which is very shocking and surprising because we didn't have Jimmy Butler, Terry Rozier, Tyler Herro, Thomas Bryant, Nikola Jovic, Orlando Robinson, Josh Richardson, and we still won an NBA game. So we technically had 4 starters out last night, and we won on the road against a Western Conference team who's a good home team, who's a playoff team, and they're not a contender in my opinion, obviously, but still, I can't name a single NBA team out there that was missing 4 starters to go on the road and win like the Miami Heat did. I can't name a single team in the Eastern Conference that are ahead of the Miami Heat that could have done that. So if the Sixers, which I know they're unfortunate right now to not have Embiid, but if they had no Embiid, no Maxey, no Tobias Harris, no whoever else, they're not going to win a game. They're already not winning games with just one player out. Obviously, he's the MVP. He's very important, but still, the Miami Heat's best players out. All of their guards were out. And we had to thrust DeLon Wright into the starting lineup, and he's never played a game yet for the Miami Heat. We just bought him out, essentially. And he didn't play his first game against the Pelicans. And all of a sudden, Tyler Herro gets hurt. Terry Rozier still hurt. And Nikola Jovic is hurt as our point forward. So we had to throw him in, and he did a wonderful job. But either way, kudos to this Miami Heat team. All the cliches, all the slogans stood true for this game. This was Heat culture. This was the epitome of the next man up, that you got to stay ready in case your number gets called upon, right? So you don't have to get ready. So huge win on the road for the Miami Heat. And there's so many players that I want to talk about that played really well. But either way, Kings fans, very good fan base and, very electric environment out there. And, that first half, I was super happy with the Miami Heat, especially in the first quarter. They were able to score 32 points. They're actually down by 1 point going into the second quarter. But either way, they were up for most of that first quarter by 6-7 points. And that's huge when we have 2 of our top scorers averaging over 21 points per game not playing. And we're already one of the worst offensive teams in the NBA. I don't know what our rating was going into this game, but we were in the mid-20s, 23, 24 range. And we were 29th or 28th in the NBA in points per game and missing all those starters. And again, Tyler averaging 21, Jimmy 21, Terry Rozier has been averaging 13 or 14 with the Heat. So a lot of firepower gone, and we were still able to score 32 points in that quarter, which is great. Second quarter, we scored 33 points. So I can't remember the time that the Heat scored 30 points in multiple quarters, and we did it 3 consecutive quarters, which is super impressive. But yeah, the second quarter, the Heat were down by 10 points, and I was just praying and hoping I didn't drive all the way to Sacramento to see the Heat get blown out, because it looked like we didn't have enough at that point. And it looked like it could have been a blowout, especially because players like Keegan Murray was hitting every shot. Sabonis was playing pretty well. Fox didn't do too much until the fourth quarter. We could talk about that later. But either way, Heat scored 33 in the second. They were down by 10, and they were able to come back behind Kevin Love, who I want to give a lot of flowers and kudos to, because he played incredible last night. And he kept them afloat, scoring 9 points in a row in that second quarter to bring us back. And then they went on another little run, the Kings, and they went up by 10 again in that second quarter. And then the Heat closed out extremely strong, and we ended up going into the half down up by 3, which was huge. So back and forth game in the first half. Third quarter is when we blew it wide open, and players like Jaime Jaquez, Bam Adebayo, and Duncan Robinson, from a playmaking perspective, were just killing it. DeLon Wright hit some threes, big threes in that third quarter. Kevin Love again was hitting some big shots and getting to the paint and just taking over and just dominating those mismatches when we got Kevin Huerter on him and some other smaller players. And Kevin Love had like 2-and-1 post up plays, and had like 6 free throw attempts in the game, which is just huge for Kevin Love. Played 15 minutes, and let's see, I think he scored 19 points. Yeah, 19 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assists, 6 for 9 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, 0 turnovers in 15 minutes. So huge game for him. The Miami Heat, almost blew it in the fourth quarter. They're up by 20, and that's, I thought, would be a big enough lead, but the Miami Heat allowed the Kings to score at will, it seemed like. So they hit 3 or 4 big 3-pointers. Kevin Huerter and Keegan Murray hit some big threes at the beginning of that run, and then De'Aaron Fox was just on fire. Like, his mid-range kind of pull-up floater game brought them back. He was able to get to the rim and get downhill, which was huge for them, and they brought the game within 2, and the arena was electric and on fire. And it seemed like the Miami Heat were going to blow it until Jaime Jaquez Jr. just literally stepped up. Him and Bam Adebayo. Bam, frustrating enough in that run for the Kings, had like 2 or 3 turnovers as he was getting double teamed, and he bobbled the ball like a couple times as well that led to turnovers. So it was frustrating, but it was huge to see that him and Jaime hit some huge shots. As soon as the Kings came within 2, Jaime Jaquez, like, we went to Jaime like in that low post, and he was just in his bag, showing that amazing footwork and dominating folks just in the post. Malik Monk had no chance. He was dominating even Domantas Sabonis. So there's some huge plays down the stretch where Jaime hit some turnarounds and floaters. Bam Adebayo hitting some clutch jumpers to sustain, and the Heat had enough, like I said before, and they won this game. Huge road victory. The Miami Heat are now in the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference, which is amazing. So we are officially out of the play-in if the season ended today. We're only like a game behind the Sixers for the 5th seed and 2.5 games from the Knicks for the 4th seed. So we are the second hottest team in the East right now. We've won 4 in a row, which is the second longest streak in the East right now, behind the Celtics, who've won 8 in a row. But either way, unreal. Like, I'm just so proud of this team for winning with all of those players out. We had 8 players out last night, and we beat a Western Conference playoff team on the road. So can't say enough about that. But looking at the box score, got to give kudos to Caleb Martin, He had 16 points, 6 rebounds, an assist. He was 6 for 14 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, which was big. And he had 1 steal. He played really well at the point of attack in the first half, especially the first 3 quarters. He was actually doing really well against De'Aaron Fox. And so he led the way as our perimeter point of attack defender, which he played really well. So he had a huge game for us. Duncan Robinson was a plus 25, even though he was 1 for 11 from the field, 0 for 6 from 3. Like, in that first half, I was like screaming to Duncan, just please make a shot, because otherwise, like, if he was on point offensively, like, this would have been a blowout throughout the entire game. But either way, he still played well. 4 points, 4 rebounds, 11 assists. So he was acting as like our primary playmaker for us, and that pick and roll with Bam and Adebayo was huge. I think he had like 3 or 4 assists to Bam alone. So Duncan obviously becoming more versatile, which is huge, being able to contribute even though he wasn't able to make a shot because they were blitzing him and driving him off that line and not giving him a single clean 3. I mean, he had a couple eventually when the Heat broke down the the defense, but still huge game for Duncan Robinson, even though he couldn't hit a single shot. Jaime Jaquez, the rookie, continues to impress. Like, huge opportunity. We knew this would be a Jaime game and that he potentially could get a 30-piece without Jimmy there, because we had to run through offense through him in that mid-post, low post. And he had 26 points, 5 boards, 2 assists 12 for 17 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3. He also had 3 steals. So monster game from him. Bam Adebayo, again, monster game, 28 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 11 for 18 from the field, 1 block and 2 steals. He was dominant from the beginning, had 10 points in the first quarter, and was attacking the rim and attacking Sabonis off the dribble, using his athleticism to get to the paint, making some good like little hook shots, a lot of dunks, good mid-range, and he just played really well overall, minus the 5 turnovers, but we could let that slide. DeLon Wright, like I mentioned, first game starting, thrusted into that role, played really well too. 13 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 for 4 from 3, 5 for 6 from the line, 1 block, 2 steals. So he is a really good defender, lengthy, strong, gets through screens, and in the passing lanes, great hands, good deflections, and he is a breath of fresh air as a huge upgrade to this roster as our backup point guard. And I'm sorry, Jay Rich, I don't think you're going to get as many minutes now when you return from your shoulder injury. So he played really well, and he was clutch, hitting some big shots in the third quarter that were wide open, but he needs to hit those shots. So he is a very good 3-and-D backup point guard that we picked up. So the Heat have done it again. Haywood Highsmith started off really well. He had 15 points, 4 rebounds, 6 for 9 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, 1 block, 3 steals, 0 turnovers. He hit 2 of his first threes like in that first quarter, and he had 12 points in the first half, and just keeping us in that game when we were down by double digits, hitting big shots, getting offensive rebounds, playing defensively, obviously, huge on both ends. So huge game for him. The Heat basically went 7 deep, but it was mostly 6 guys that got 29 minutes or more. And so Kevin Love, had only 15 minutes, but just monster impact. So huge game for the Miami Heat. Up next, we're against the Portland Trailblazers. We're going to be playing tonight on the road again. And then that's going to be the third game of this West Coast road trip. And then we end it on, I believe, Friday against the Nuggets, which is going to be a huge test. So the Heat, I don't know who's going to be available today. I don't know if Terry or Tyler is available tonight. We'll have to look into that, but Jimmy should be back. Jokic should be back. Thomas Bryant, even though he's on the rotation, should be back. So from suspension. So the Heat need to win. We need to turn this into a 5-game win streak. There's no excuses. You can't lose tonight to Portland. You absolutely have to win after that type of win last night. So even if it's a back-to-back, I don't care. We have to win this game and get close to the 5 seed and surpass the Sixers while they're dealing with injuries of their own. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I will talk to you guys soon.